Okay, it is Sunday, May 6th, I think. Somewhere in there. Anyway, it's just another day. So this morning we are leaving Charleston City Marina and heading to Brunswick. We're on a 5-day trip down to the Bahamas. So our legs are going to be today, weather permitting, which the seas are anywhere between 2 feet and 6 feet, depending on where the heck we go. The weather apps have been off pretty bad the last week or so. Today we're going to hit Brunswick, then we're going to hit Saint Augustine, from Saint Augustine down to Fort Pierce. Fort Pierce, we're going to make our crossing over into the west end of the Bahamas and then on to Hopetown. So that's going to be theoretically our legs. We're in an East Bay, similar to the 53s that I have run in the past. So it should be a pretty good ride. Expecting about a 7-hour trip down to Brunswick. We really haven't run this boat all that much, so we don't really know. I ran a couple legs the other day. We fueled up and I ran some fuel curves and some speed curves. So I think we're gonna get like 20 to 25 and we'll be doing around 25, 26 gallons, including the generator, an hour. So beautiful sunny morning out. We left at 8 o'clock on the dot. We're a couple minutes after, you know how punctual I like to be. So just passing the Coast Guard station now. We're about to throttle up. I will do another video or two once we get out there, and we'll balance the sea state with what we perceive to be to what the apps are telling us. So again, we can get some better information for tomorrow's trip. It's going to be spotty in a couple areas on the way down, so we may have to pull on the inside and run the ditch. So hopefully we won't have to do that, but if we do, it'll be a short leg down to Saint Augustine, so that won't be too bad. So we're going to get out of the harbor here and see how it is. Okay, so we're offshore. Forecast said 2 feet 6 inches. I always balance off between what I see and what it's forecast. So I said 1 to 2s. Forecast is 2 feet 6, so it's freaking gorgeous out here. I'm liking it. So hopefully we got this the rest of the way down, and we'll have a good passage. We're just off Morris Island, Folly Beach right now. Okay, so this is what happens halfway through. Yeah. There we go. So it was beautiful. Now we're in, I don't know, threes anyway. White capping, winds are stronger. Close this, gonna get wet. You can see all the containers out there, container ships that's outside of the port of Savannah. So I've actually backed down. We're doing 17, 18 knots. So you can see all of the ships that are waiting to get into the port. We were doing around 22 knots. It does normally pick up around here, so I'm kind of hopeful that once we get down past this, because of all the water coming in and out, it does get a bit rough in here, so it will settle out as we get a little bit further down and past here. It's certainly manageable, but I've backed it off. And as with everything else, you know, we were supposed to hit Brunswick today, and because it was so nice out, I was contemplating going down to Augustine and taking off another leg of the trip in a day. We'd still get there for daylight, and the seas were supposedly a little better for today than tomorrow, so it would have been nice had we gotten another leg out of it. We have the dog on board, so we don't know if the dog's going to go to the bathroom or not, so that's going to be the biggest hurdle. So we may just end up pulling into Brunswick tonight and then doing a short leg tomorrow. So hopefully once I get past this, we'll be able to throttle up again and seas will diminish, so we'll see. But a few hours in. All right, it's almost coffee time. We're in some rougher seas, and I forgot when we were provisioning the boat to get thanks, cold brew coffee, which is what I normally get, especially when we're in kind of rougher seas like this. We're back in, I'd say like threes. We're coming out of an inlet again. So we made the decision. The boat's running really well. Dog's doing good. Owner's doing well. So we decided that we're gonna continue on to Saint Augustine. So it's an extra 3 hours. And if you add on what it's going to take me to get into Brunswick, which was an hour to get in Brunswick, hour to get out of Brunswick, that's 2 hours right there. To get into Augustine, it's only like a half hour. So everything was running really good. So we're right there in Saint Augustine. It's getting a little bumpy. It's right there. So we got about 2.5 hours left. If I scroll out, you can see where we are, right in the curve here. So I don't have a lot of service. And so 2 hours left to get down there. If we really needed to, we could pop into Jacksonville. We're coming up. In fact, we just crossed over to Florida. So just 2 seconds ago, crossed into Florida. We could stop in Fernandino, whatever the heck it's called, to get fuel, Jacksonville. And then right after that is where we're going, St. Augustine. We should have plenty of fuel left. I've been monitoring that. Pretty close to what our calculations were of around 24 gallons an hour. 450 gallons in the tank after fuel. We got 60 left, 176 to fuel. So I'm going to do another calculation in a minute. But it does work out to be about 24 gallons an hour. So that's what we thought it was going to do. And we're doing about 22 knots on average, seeing 23, 24. So I think we got a little bit of the current coming with us. Should be around for 5:30, plenty of time to fuel up, wash the boat, and go get a cocktail. So tomorrow looks pretty good, I think. I'm gonna check the sea conditions one more time. I wanna get a little bit of service and pull out bright and early, and then we're heading to Fort Pierce. And then I think what we're gonna do is also adjust our passage over into the Bahamas. We may stop in Great Turtle and just clear customs and immigration there, and then head on to Hopetown. And based upon what we're doing today, we could do that in a day as well. So we're basically cutting 2 days off of the trip. So we'll see what the rest of today brings and tomorrow, and I'll do a quick video when we get in. At this point, I was contemplating going all the way to St. Augustine, looking at fuel calculations, looking at the seas, settling a little bit, and seeing what was going to happen the next day and how the boat was running. I was like, maybe we can make this trip. Dogs seem pretty good, everybody seemed pretty good, so this is starting my contemplation of continuing on down river and making it to St. Augustine in one day. Good morning. 6:30. The next day, I forgot to do a film coming in. We got tied up doing some stuff as usual. We're doing all my engine checks this morning. Sun's starting to come up. Taking our time getting off the dock this morning. Owner's up walking the dog. My log is done. I found a couple inches of water underneath the engine this morning on the starboard side. I don't know where it's coming from, so I'm just going to monitor that. I'm not all that concerned with it. It will eventually drain over the pan if it needs to, but I checked the water pump. That was dry, so it's probably coming from a hose somewhere. And then she kind of told me that that had happened before when they brought it down from Wilmington. So today we're going to Fort Pierce. I think it should take about 7 hours or so, and we'll do some footage on the way. It looks like very light winds coming out of the east. So hopefully it should be a smoother passage on the way out of here. And then further down the coast we get, it's gonna spread out to about 10 seconds. Sea conditions. So I think I've said this before, but 2 feet 7 seconds means that the seas are 2 feet high and they come at you about every 7 seconds. So if I say 2 feet 6, 2 feet 5, 3 feet 7, 3 feet 10, what I'm talking about is the height of the sea state and then how long it takes for the next wave to basically hit you. So the longer the second, 3 feet, 10 seconds, the better off you are, because you've got a longer run in between waves and they almost become swells as opposed to waves. And then you'll still have chop on top of that. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about sea state, 2 feet 5, 3 feet 7, things like that. So anyway, I'm gonna get the engines fired up. We're gonna start switching over to generator power and start getting off the dock. And I gotta have coffee.
That's 19 feet.
You're only using one.
Switch it to USB.
You only got, there you go. There you go. Now you're playing with fire. All right, it's 8:01. We are off the dock. Bridge of lines directly in front of us. The owner's going to try and get us through the bridge without putting any scratches on the boat. Pretty sure she can do this. Let's see what happens here. I'll give you a... Go left! Go left!
Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't.
There's plenty of room. I'll put 80, 90 footers through here.
Phoenix to 12.
Got a couple sailboaters that are chit-chatting on the radio here.
I normally don't run an alarm on my depth sounder, but I'm going to set my depth sounder alarm to 7 feet for this trip.
I don't know. I guess they're running up the ditch or something like that. Shallow water. I think one of them ran aground this morning. So
yeah, it's just been too much excitement this morning.
Everything
is calming down nicely.
There you go. So clearly one of them have run aground earlier today. So downtown.
I'm going to do a watch on 1618, okay?
Saint Augustine Bridge, and the marina's back there. Heading to Fort Pierce today. There's the old fort right there. It's kind of a neat place to go and visit. Definitely recommend Saint Augustine for coming down for drinks, cocktails, dinner, walking around. Great town if you guys are running up and down the ditch or running up and down the coast. There is always some hesitation about coming in. Stay to the left of the, yeah.
I knew that.
Hesitation coming in. The channel usually is pretty well marked. What I normally do is I find the safe water aid, which is the red and white mark, which is offshore, and then do a 90-degree coming in there, and then you'll usually pick up the markers coming in. So there's a lot of shoaling through here, and it shifts pretty dramatically. So you won't find any marks on the chart, but there are marks coming in and out of the channel. So just follow those, and you'll be okay. So working on the fort. So I'm going to drop this for a minute. We're going to I'll do another segment offshore. It's supposed to be 2 feet, 3 feet, 6 seconds, which is about what we had yesterday. Coming up into some 4s, and then this afternoon it's supposed to widen out with 3 feet 10 seconds. So hopefully that will be a little bit smoother of a ride. But the boat handled well yesterday in those sea conditions, and we're going to go in the same direction today. So hopefully we should have about the same passage for today, which should be doing about 7 hours. Instead, I think we did, what, 10 yesterday? So, you know, yeah, like half a day today. So, all right, we're going to get out of the inlet here and see what happens. hard, so you got to really be careful and follow the channel markers in. You heard me just a second ago say that there was 2 sailboaters, one ran aground. I'm not quite sure why. There's huge breakers out there that you'll see in a second. We actually came back in, foreshadowing, in the middle of the night back on this one on the return trip. So you just got to be real careful, real diligent. Look at your charts, look at your depth, look at your marks, look at your charts, look at your depth, and just do that circle. If you do that and focus and know what you're looking at, you'll be fine. Don't get confused by other marks going up the channel or into that secondary channel there.
I mean, that's okay there too, but again,
to get in and out.
there's no channel markers here, so these are literally just a course to get us to where we need to go. See your green right there, your red right there, so you're good.
Okay.
And notice, look, you're right on my course line yesterday. You can throttle up a little bit too. Just watch your depth. Breakers out there?
Yep.
Way off in the distance.
Plenty of water. Relatively bright. If anything, more important to get to follow your
Yeah, there's your red, there's your green over there.
green's way over there.
Yep.
Okay. I'm hugging red because that's what you did.
Yep, that's fine.
One more or no?
Oh, you're fine. Yep, you're good. Got 51 feet of water, so pretty good margin.
Okay.
Go back to the right a little bit.
Trying to balance the images out at the same time. So I'm not doing a great job of.
Well, again, here's an instance where you're heading out, you're not used to all this stuff, you're looking here, you're looking there. If you were to put it on autopilot, that takes one major thing off of you, and then it'll steer a straight course for you, and then you can dial it in as you need it.
Right.
And then, as you're trying to throttle up the engines and look around and whatever.
Cylindrical, so they look more like a can, which is what we call them. We call them cans of nuns. Nuns are pointed, shaped like nuns' caps. Cans are basically look like cans of greens or cans of reds or nuns. Even if it's hard to, you have a hard time seeing, you can still figure out what you're looking at, which is why.
What I thought I heard was backwards from what I did here.
Yep. Red right return.
Right.
And on your left
That's
going
on the way
out.
out. Right.
Just letting you know, I've got my engine RPM set at medium idle. I normally would be doing about medium cruise. I normally be doing about 6.5 knots, maybe a little low. But we've got a great 2-knot current pushing us right now, so I'm doing 8.4. Is that okay with you?
That breaker. That breaker.
Yeah, I just did 8.5 on my GPS. Doing 7.4 through the
Alright, so straight, look straight out. See that mark straight out? That's our safe water aim. So that's not a red nor a green. So aim directly for that.
Back up a little, your choice.
So you're pretty much on it.
Yep.
Go back to you a little bit. Go back to you. Way the hell out there. That's a red.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're
Way out there.
Way out there.
Yep.
Okay. Again.
Sounds good.
That's
Just
right.
communication.
No.
What is your normal cruise speed?
I do this all the time.
No current.
Thank you.
And what you might want to do is get the boat up on plane. If you're in the hole right
Yeah,
now.
I know. I feel it. Are you ready?
Yep, go ahead. If you want, see again, here's a situation where you're doing a lot of things right now.
Get on it.
Put it on autopilot and aim for that. That way that sets you up because now you're heading to the green.
All right, but don't I want today to get to my speed before I hit auto?
No,
Huh?
no,
No?
no. You can hit auto and that's one less thing you got to do, and then you can worry about your throttles, throttling up and worrying about getting up to speed.
Right. Push just center?
Nope, push the auto button. See the 6 buttons?
Yeah. I can't see auto. The don't the glare's bad. All right here. Sorry. Okay, got it.
Alright, so we're just about outside. These are the first 2 marks, the green and the red. And safe water aid is, how is it? Right out there. Right there. So that's where we're going to head to, and then we're going to head south. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We're heading down to Fort Pierce right now, and we'll pick it up there and do our crossing over into the Bahamas.